Today we're talking about the wall and why I have it set up the way I do. It's a visual statement for me, similar to a vision board. We're going to do a deep dive on what vision boards are and what vision statements are. This is an extension of that. I have this set up in a peak. You'll see the peak here, right? That reminds me that there's a mountain to be climbed. And each mountain is climbed step by step. What does each placket mean? Each placket reminds me of a story that I've either experienced or I've read, I've heard about, a podcast. It reminds me of those times that I read something, it really resonated with me, I figured that it would help me in the future, and I put it on the wall. Let me give you an example. Be the third pig. Doesn't really mean anything to anybody, but it means something to me because of the story I was told when I came up with this, right? I was at a Dave Ramsey summit, and it was in the middle of COVID. It was November 2020 in Nashville, Tennessee, and Dave was telling the story of the three little pigs, and we're all sitting there saying to ourselves, like, is this guy for real? Like, what's he talking about? He's telling, like, entrepreneurs a story about the three little pigs. And he's telling the actual story. But the point of the story was, be the third pig, because the third pig, in the story, the third pig builds his house out of bricks. The third pig takes his time and builds the house properly. The third pig turns out to be the savior of the other two pigs. The third pig prepares himself for the storm. Tony Robbins talks about it all the time, that we're in seasons, right? And during COVID, the season was winter. And being the third pig meant if you're building your business as the third pig, then your business has reserves. Your business has different income streams coming that business is building, right? So if you have a preschool, that could be one income stream, but then you have an educational lesson plan or homeschooling part of that. So you could have a storefront, let's say, that has homeschooling lessons. You could have a storefront that sells preschool products. You have an offshoot from that main business that still provides income. Multifamily, apartment investing, property management. I know guys that actually they acquire like HVAC companies and plumbing companies, so that they can integrate that into their multifamily. So they have one large income stream, multifamily or the preschool in these examples, and then they have little streams that come into that are complementary to what their mainstream is doing. So you're building a very strong foundation for your income streams. Be the third pig. In multifamily, make sure that you have your finances in order. Make sure that you have your CapEx budget. Make sure you have your reserves so that you can shift when things need to be taken care of. Proximity is power. Proximity is power. I don't believe that anymore. When I put this on the wall, I actually believe proximity is power. I actually believe that. I've upgraded my thinking since this has been put on the wall. And that's a lesson in itself. Just because something is said doesn't mean that you can't expand or evolve on it, right? Proximity isn't just power. Proximity is the unfair advantage. Because I have proximity to certain individuals, I can get information much quicker. Because of my proximity. Because of my proximity, I can learn things much faster. Proximity is an unfair advantage. Everybody has it. I don't care if you're a teenager watching this, you're 15, 16 years old, sitting in high school, you're like, what kind of unfair advantage do I have in real estate? You have the advantage of your parents possibly, because they purchased their home. Maybe you have that. Maybe you have somebody in the family that's purchased property and understands the steps of securing a mortgage. You have neighbors. If you're renting your house, your neighbors have purchased their property. Let's say that you live in an apartment building. The property manager of that building, you can talk to them about real estate. You have proximity. You just have to open up your eyes. I wasn't ever able to open up my eyes. Like, what kind of proximity do I have? I don't know anything. But I went through the process of buying a house. So in that proximity, I now have a title agent. I now have a loan broker, a mortgage broker. I now have just my proximity to go into the bank every week and having conversations with them. Proximity's all over the place. It's how you decide to use it. It's how you decide to step into that proximity. Discipline equals freedom. Why would I have discipline equals freedom on my wall? It reminds me, when I see that, it reminds me to get my reps in. It reminds me to keep going. Discipline equals freedom. I need to be disciplined in my thinking. I need to be disciplined in how I use my finances, my capital. How do I deploy it? I need to be disciplined in, if I set out a path, 100 video posts, let's say this is the path I'm on right now, right? 100 video posts in 100 days to provide, that's 1,000 minutes worth of commentary that I'm applying to the world. The discipline in that is you have to do that every single day. You have to get your reps in. If I'm disciplined in writing a paragraph a day, my book will be written. There's people that want to write books all over the place. I want to write a book. Then write it. Then sit down, literally sit down and write it. Peck, 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 peck. That's how I created my gratitude journal. Where's my gratitude? I'll be back in a second. My gratitude journal, right? It started out like this. And then it turned into this. People say they want to do something all the time. Then do it. That's going to get me to this one over here in a little bit. We're gonna split this mountain in half. Discipline equals freedom. It just reminds me that every once in a while when I'm starting to get lazy and I really don't, I'm missing that motivation. No, the discipline is boring. Boring. Discipline is boring, doing the same thing over and over and over again. Success is not complicated. It's actually pretty simple, but it's not easy, right? And this is part of it. You got to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, with exploring new things, all in the same sentence. Be the miracle. What do I mean by that? How many times have you said, oh, somebody should do something about that? Well, then go do something about that. Be the miracle. I saw a story about, this is a news story. It was about, I'm going to butcher this, but I'm going to do my best. It was about a kid in Florida, and Florida got hit with a hurricane, and people, like, lost everything. And this kid went around to his neighborhood. He literally went around with flyers, handing them out to everybody in the neighborhood, saying that I'm making a collection so that I can make a donation to the people that got affected by the hurricane. And then the kid, with his little red wagon, pulled his wagon around his neighborhood and collected water and food and everything else. And he brought that wagon home, and he emptied it out into his garage, and then he went around and he kept doing it. And he ended up, it grew legs, and he ended up delivering something crazy, like, I don't know, like 10 U-Hauls, little U-Haul box trucks, like 10 of them to this hurricane area that got hit by the hurricane. Be the miracle. Don't just sit around saying, what if, what if, what if? It should get done, this should get done, that should get done. Be the miracle. Be the person that actually does it. I should. Stop with the shoulds. Be the miracle. Invest in people. This is a great one. Invest in people. I believe life is about proximity. I believe it's about investing in people too. It's about building those relationships. It's about helping your fellow man. Invest in people. There's a reason why I have this shaped as a mountain. Because at one point I was over here and somebody pulled me up this mountain. And now that I'm up here, it's my responsibility to pull the next person up. Invest in people. Share your wealth. Share your knowledge. And your wealth doesn't necessarily have to mean dollars. Your wealth is what you're really good at, your skill set. Share it with the world. Share it with your neighbor. Share it with the kid down the block. Invest in people. When you invest in people, you build your proximity. When you build your proximity, proximity is the unfair advantage. We're going to get to the next side of this mountain on the next video I do. Guys, you know we live up here in the numerator, not down here in the denominator. It's always about results over excuses. Go out there. Be unstoppable! Have a great day, guys. I love spending time with you.